Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Hearthward Bound, a familiar tale, brought to you by the Legendary and ManaPot Studios. Thank you both for letting me do this. If you came here expecting Invisible Sun, I've got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is Invisible Sun is on hiatus. We'll be back in 2021. But the good news is it's the same lovely faces of the people that you know and love, and we're playing a limited series campaign. Doesn't that sound fancy? I am your neophyte dungeon master, Bill, also known as Ghost Spike on Discord, and I'd like to introduce my unparalleled cast, the inimitable Marissa. Please tell us who you're playing and where we can find you on the socials.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marissa, as Bill has just said, also known as Critical Kitten around these hallowed digital halls, Twitch, Instagram. On Twitter, I go by Marissa Coors, which is where I tweet about philosophy and such things. And in this campaign, I am playing Polaris, the druid, who is accompanied by an animal companion by the name of Aletheia, who is a Norwegian forest cat, or otherwise known as Snow Cat.
And next, the indefatigable Zach, who has very graciously offered to run tech for me this stream. Thank you very much. Please tell us who you're playing and where we can find you on the socials.
Hi guys, I'm Zach, otherwise known as the Great Zamino. You can find me at that screen name for all social media stuff. I am also use he, him pronouns, and today, for the next 4 episodes, I get to play Mangolin the Pangolin. It's gonna be amazing. So
and your person is also
my person is Driakmo, the Goliath Druid. So that's gonna be fun.
Wonderful. And then moving on to the bottom right of your screen, the incomparable Marcy. Please tell us who you're playing and where we can find you on the internet.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Marcy, again, but in a very different way this time. You can find me around the internet under the username Experimental Madness, except on Twitter, where I am your neighborhood cryptid under the name Marciful. Maybe you'll catch me there. Who knows? And today I am playing the human druid, Daffodil, and along with her very small, tiny pygmy owl named Hoot. And I'm very excited about this.
Aren't we all? Last but not least, the one-of-a-kind Hopper, who has kindly let me take the keys to his world of Jashara and let me drive. Thank you, Hopper. Please tell us who you're playing and where we can find you on the internet.
I am Hopper. I use they, them pronouns. I can be found on the interwebs at Phil Deadly with a 3 instead of an E because I'm a bad person. And also at the Legend Tree, where I do my more serious business of pretending that I'm a serious person and putting out content for fantasy targeted stuff mostly. And today I will be playing Flake the Raccoon, who's a wee little chubby raccoon who just wants to know what the fuck is going on, and his slightly more serious adult who is a halfling druid of the mountains.
We all need adults this stream. We all need adults. I have a few more thank yous. Again, thank you to ManaPot for hosting this. This started out as just a meme and a bad idea, and now it's reality. Thank you for letting this happen. I want to thank Liza Courtright for who built all the beautiful overlays for this stream. Very last minute. Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank the folks who inspired this. I believe we have a picture. Zach, if you please.
One moment.
The folks at probablybadrpgideas.tumblr.com. Thank you for doing what they do. So this was submitted by Tumblr user Digital Fruits. Whoever you are, thank you very much. And then this image is by Dungeon in a Box, who gave us permission to use this on stream. Thank you very much. So there it is. Players must create mid-level druids with animal companions. After character creation, the druids are kidnapped. Players must rescue them. as your animal companion. So here we go. You know what you're getting here. We're playing as some goddamn animals. We've taken some inspiration from the Awakened supplemental source book from Andreas Walters and Metalweave Games. Thank you for the inspiration there as well. Very helpful in building little tiny creatures. But this has all been homebrewed to hell. So if you're looking for a D&D game by the book, this is not your stream. But for the rest of you, welcome. Sit back, relax, and cue the music as we enter the world of Jashara. Jashara is a land of belief. Not just religious belief, but belief in concepts, people, unconscious belief, unintentional, non-consensual belief. Some say that Jashara itself came into being because a powerful consciousness willed it into existence, and if this belief ever waned, the world would simply disappear, like a forgotten memory. Jashara is a land of continents and oceans. 2 moons circle the planet in opposite directions, dragging along a tidal storm, monsoons that circumnavigate the globe twice per year. Jashara is a land of many wonders worthy of stories. The dark wilds of Illyria, the shellborn that make their home on floating cities in the Everlake, the magocracy of Caliban, the political intrigue in the courts of Braden, the harsh and xenophobic Ertazi, the endless war on the Canaan front, the metropolitan wonder that is Jorgen, or the recently rediscovered and uncharted continent of Kinesland. But we're not here to tell those stories. Indeed, our story takes us back into the ancient history of Jashara, the mythical history of Jashara, thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Long before the millennia-old Durenium Empire unleashed a world-altering weapon in a last-ditch effort against the Conclave, leaving pockets of slow and fast time, rifts and rends scattered across the globe. Back to the time of the God Wars and the Fae Invasion. This is a story often told to the young druid by the old. When the world was young, still malleable with the magic of belief, deities physically manifested themselves in what became known as the Age of Apotheosis. These gods were of a different breed than the primordial gods. These gods were more complex, more fallible, and required the worship of mortals. A number of jealous gods discovered that rather than take on a rival directly, one could simply eliminate their followers, severely weakening or, in some cases, eliminating the god entirely. From this conflict, hundreds of years of destruction and death followed in what became known as the God Wars. Just as the scale of the calamity reached levels that even the primordial gods could no longer ignore, Jashara was invaded by the Fae. This was a full interplanar assault. Seelie and unseelie violently broke through the barriers between realms, spilling into a world that was in no shape to resist. Alien races poured forth. Elves, goblins, hobgoblins, furbolgs, pixies. The Fae's technology, magical prowess, and logistics far outstripped that of the juvenile species of the material realm. The Fae made quick and brutal gains, opening many additional portals across the face of Jashara. They enslaved or exterminated nearby populations, consolidated their territory, and did it again. Both the Seelie and Unseelie courts were led by creatures that recalled true elves, whose unsettling magic made them realer than real. Their very presence overrides Jashara, the fabric of reality ripping apart and weaving itself back together in a completely foreign way. The gods were forced to put aside their differences and, along with their scions and followers, presented a united front and have recently won some major battles, though not without great cost. In the most recent costly victory, the young god of dwarven kind, Ogrim the Deepfather, smote a Fae army with his hammer, cracking the crust of Jushara, flooding a large area now known as the Everlake. It is in this mystical time that we set our tale. As a primordial god, Maro, the embodiment of the untamed wilds, did not manifest on the physical plane, nor did they require active worship or even acknowledgement by mortal races. The very existence of plants and animals, the great circle of life, growth and predation, have sustained Maro since the beginning of time. But Maro is not without worshippers. The greatest servants they have are blessed with supernatural power. They live solitary lives, shepherds and guardians of nature, patrolling vast territories, preserving the balance of the wilds. These are the ancestors of the druids as we know them today, with a few notable differences. They do not have the ability to change their shape, but instead harness magics that have since been lost to druid kind. One such ability was the ability to form a supernatural connection with an animal, granting it sapience and the ability to communicate in a secret language, now called Druidic. And now we get to meet our cast, and with a change in the music, I'd like to zoom in on Flake. Flake, please describe your home.
Well, it's very big. When you go up the hill and then you keep going up the hill and then it's just rocks. It's just, mountains. I'm talking about mountains. And now I'm doing a New Zealand accent for some reason. I don't know. Don't fucking at me. I wasn't prepared for this. So it's when our home, it's very rocky. Yeah, rocky.
And do you just sleep wherever you fall, or do you have a hovel in the home? Where do you have a home?
What's a home?
I see. What are you like, Flake? Could you describe yourself?
Well, I'm definitely from New Zealand now. No, I just completely butchered a Scottish accent. So what's up, guys? Well, I prefer to go at night and into the dark, and then I find the good bits that other people have dropped and shove it all in my face, and then I bring it back to my adult, the weird little halfling over there, and Flake's just gesturing wildly around with this weird little fucking opposable thumb hands. And in general, I just, I pick things up, I put them down, I carry them around. Sometimes I hold stuff. It's a good life.
This halfling, what's the deal with this halfling? What do they look like?
So are you asking Flake?
Flake, yeah, I'm asking Flake.
Well, she's very tall, quite tall, and she's got a little bit of the. She's not so good about grooming, and I have to show her how to wash her food sometimes. But she's getting it. She's really getting it. She just usually has all sorts of shit in her fur, she's a little bit inhospitable to anybody who's present.
She's just now waking up. What is something that she does every day when she wakes up?
I think she does this weird thing where she if she sees somebody, then she attempts to send them away through force, through main force. In fact, she's not very friendly. You really shouldn't be here. She might see you.
What's your opinion of that? Would you prefer that she kept the people around? Sorry, that she kept them around?
No, you're the worst.
Very good. We flash cut to the savannah and down on a little armored anteater. Mangolin, please describe yourself.
Well, I'm very broad and many interlocking plates, and they're very helpful. And not much to tell about myself.
What are you good at?
Eating ants, digging, climbing, moving forward. I also like to roll.
That's a long list. Do you have a person? Could you please describe them?
Oh, yes. Very big. Driakmo. He's so big. I like to climb, and there are these grooves in his skin that I use as handholds. And then I get up to right below where he talks, and then I just rest there and I like to sleep there.
What does Driakmo do all day?
Very long mounts of walking, very long steps. Sometimes he takes this little tube and he blows through it, and there's little notes of music. And I like those moments.
And do you have a home that you return to every day? Do you sleep in the same place?
Usually on Driakmo's shoulder.
Thank you very much for your time, Mangolin. We smash cut to a windblown landscape covered in snow, and we see kind of poking their head up out of a drift this big furry maned cat, and it's now I'm getting this wrong. It's Aletheia,
which means truth, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me, if you had to describe yourself to someone who had never met you, what would you say?
Well, to describe oneself requires a degree of self-reflection, after all, which is itself an indicator of intellect and maturity. I am a very pretty cat, as you know, as you can probably see, and I'm smart too, almost as smart as Polaris, because after all, I think I have learned most of what she knows. At least I think so. She might disagree. I'm very particular about my grooming, and I love the cold.
Who is Polaris? What are they like?
Polaris is my druid. She is so smart. She knows everything about the Arctic, from the foxes to the owls to the bears. She can listen to ice and know how sturdy it is and tell how long it's been frozen for. She studies the sky and the stars, and she makes these really cool charts that help travelers journey from place to place. And she does this all just by looking at the night sky. It's amazing.
Sounds like you have a lot of affection for her.
I do.
Do you have a home, a place that you sleep every night that's the same?
Yeah, well, back home, I used to sleep nestled with all the other forest cats because we were curled into one another, and we basically created this big cat fur blanket. But when I'm with Polaris, I always sleep by the window so that I can see the stars, but also not be too far from her.
That's lovely. The camera shifts, and we are zooming in through dense branches and zooming, zooming still, and finally, the object of our attention is, well, Hoot, how tall are you?
You see from this branch on a tree, more like a twig, just like a bunch of leaves just kind of flutter down, and there is no bigger than like my index finger that could balance on it, the tiniest pygmy owl. Hello.
Hello, Hoot. If you had to describe yourself to someone who had never met you before, how would you do that?
1 second, because I think something happened.
So, we're back.
I think who looks down at themselves, just like, I am an apex predator.
And then how do you get around?
I fly? Yes.
Okay.
With my big mighty wings.
What's your home like?
It is full of trees. It is very dark and mysterious.
What do you like most about it?
The fact that it is full of prey for me to seek my talons in.
All right. What's your favorite food?
Mice.
Now, do you eat them dead or
Raw.
alive? Okay, alive. Okay, got it. Now,
How do you eat your mice?
I'll tell you when you're older. Do you have a person in your life?
Yes, they are the most wonderful person. It is Daffodil.
What do they look like?
She is very pretty. Yes, and much taller than me. The tallest person I've ever seen. She has plants for hair, and she uses bark from the tree for her arms.
And what does Daffodil do all day?
She likes to talk to the plants, and she carries me around.
You know why she talks to the plants?
And she likes them. She takes care of everything in this forest. When it was on fire, many whole moons ago, she stayed to try to protect it. And that's why she's full of all of these colorful markings on her body. And why she uses the plants now to help her.
That's lovely, Hoot. Thank you so much. We cut back to Flake. And Flake, it's Faye's finished waking up and you're about to set off on a walk. Just in general, what are you most looking forward to? It could be what you're looking most forward to today. It could be what you're looking most forward to sometime in the future.
That's a hard one. Food mostly. Yeah, food. I like the food that goes in and around my mouth.
And your person moves in a way that makes you remember the day that you became awakened, the first day that you met her. Can you tell us a little bit about that day?
Well, I don't remember too much of it. I'm not originally from around these parts, but I got snatched up when I was a wee baby by a bird of some kind and dropped a rather long distance. And I was going to be eaten, and the big one over here, the cranky one, and the less handsome one, she found me and she healed me. And she booped me on the nose, and then that's what I remember. That's what it sounds about right, yeah.
What changed for you that day?
Well, I didn't die.
That's a big one.
Fate always says dying is bad.
And is there anything you miss from the life that you had before you met Faye?
Well, I miss my mum. But I don't really know where I came from, so here we
How long
are.
has it been since you've seen her?
You just see tiny, like Flake trying to count on tiny little raccoon paws, and then like runs out of fingers and just goes,
Sorry. And we cut back to the grasslands. You're already walking along the prairie. Mangolin, you are remembering the day that you became awakened and the first day that you met Driakmo. What happened on that day?
Well, I was walking. I was lost. Mom and the others, I got turned around. And I just heard this sound. It's very long and very soft music. And did not know where it came from. But I followed it anyway. And as I walk into this big clearing, there is this large person thing music is coming from. And all I know is I thought he was a rock. And then he turned his head and he said, "Hello, little friend." And yeah, I felt a good thing.
What do you most look forward to in your day or maybe long in the future? What do you want?
I like when I am on Driakmo's arm, and sometimes he has a little pouch, and he sticks his hand into this little pouch, and he pulls out, it's covered with honey, and he puts it right next to a tree, and he waits, and he waits, until all the ants have covered his hand. And then he brings it back up to his shoulder, and he says, "Supper time, little friend." My favorite part of the day.
If that's not love, I don't know what is. Mangolin, is there anything that you miss from your life before Driakmo?
Things were simpler. I didn't have to think so much. And when I didn't think so much, sometimes I wouldn't get sad when I didn't eat all of the ants. But now I get sad when I don't eat all the ants. But at the same time, I just need to try harder to eat all of the ants.
Life is indeed suffering. And we cut back to the Arctic tundra. Aletheia, how independent are you from Polaris? Do you spend every waking moment together, or?
No, she trusts me to go about my day and for her to go about her day. Of course, we enjoy our time together, but we're not adjoined at the hip or anything. She often sends me out as her emissary, she calls it, to help travelers that need it, to guide people in the direction of the north or the south or the east or the west. And I have learned those things very well. I am a very, very helpful traveler.
Can you describe a time you helped a traveler by yourself?
Well, it was almost by myself. There were these people that they said they had seen a polar bear and they were looking for the polar bear and its cub because they were lost and they were apart from their sleuth, their pack of bears. That's the word for pack of bears, sleuth. Anyway, I was sent by Polaris to go and help them because Polaris knows exactly where all the bears live, and to help them bring the two bears back together with their sleuth. And well, I was definitely a very critical part. I was the leader of the pack that helped get them home, and I only messed up twice.
Let no one diminish your accomplishments, Aletheia.
Well, of course.
So on today, this particular day, are you independently adventuring or are you with Polaris?
Well, today I'm actually reading some books because that's one of the things that Polaris taught me to do, was to read in Druidic after she saw that I was interested in the stars like her. And well, I mean, it's one of those things that if you don't spend some time every day reading, you will just lose all the knowledge you have gained. And that's not good for anyone. So definitely an important part of my day today.
As you think about all the knowledge you have gained, you think about the moment that you became awakened, where you met Polaris for the first time. What happened on that day?
Well, when I was little, I used to look up at the stars at night. They're very clear in the Arctic, and I would find these patterns in their random scatter across the black velvet of the night. And I came up with all these stories for which great cats that I pictured sketched with my mind's eye, like Gerard the Great, who is leonine and fierce and had really sharp eyes, and Leora the Skeptical, who was the wisest, most strategic, and certainly most resourceful of snow cat of legend. This was my secret. It's something that other cats didn't understand why I did. After all, what do stars have to do with snow? That is, one day I saw my human, Polaris, clad in this long fur coat dress, and she was doing something with these strange instruments and pointing at them and was looking up at the stars. And she called it astronometry. And I learned that later. Anyway, I learned that my stories that I came up with for the stars, they weren't real. They were just in my head, that there were other stories that the humans had come up with for those same stars, but different pictures. And she said by studying the placement of the stars in the sky, you could help figure out where you were. And she created these big charts and maps and stuff. And well, obviously, when she approached me after I expressed interest in these instruments, she offered to teach me what she knew, which was an offer I couldn't refuse.
Sounds like a deal that you made very willingly, but is there any tinge of regret? Is there anything that you miss about the life that you had before?
Not at all. The wild snowcats are all preoccupied with prey and predators and snow. The strategy of hunting prey, arguing over which prey is easiest to catch and which is the tastiest. Like the snowshoe hare is faster than the Arctic hare, but the Arctic hare are harder to catch because they live above the tree line and are used to being out in the open. Prey, 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 prey. And snow. They also never shut up about snow. The elder cats, they talk about forecasting future snowfalls, and they meow back and forth about how much there will be, how cold it will be, whether it will be thick and wet or fluffy and soft, because of course the features of the snowfall have something to do with their hunting strategy.
And the audio kind of diminishes out as she gladly keeps going. And we go to Hoot. Hoot, your human daffodil is singing to you, and it's a song that she sings to you every day. Are you annoyed at this but secretly love it, or do you let down that murderous exterior and enjoy it in that moment?
Hoot turns into the giant little, like this puffball as all the feathers start like bulging up. But obviously, of course, she has like one soft spot, and it's only for Daffodil. And so when Daffodil scritches one bark magical finger down her little head, all the feathers come like back down, and she just like does the little owl slow blink. So yeah, she's okay with it.
And how independent are you in the course of a normal day? Do you go off and do your own things, or do you stay by her side?
Hoot does both. Hoot is allowed to go hunting and come back.
I think today Daffodil would like you to accompany her. Do you fly beside her, or do you nestle nearby in her clothing?
Sometimes I sit in her hair, and then sometimes I fly.
So with a mixture of flying and sitting in the hair, you walk and she points out plants and tells you about their properties, and you think about a time before you knew Daffodil, and before you became awakened, and when you gained this new level of sapience. Can you describe what happened that day?
Hoot broke her wing. Yes, it was very foolish. There was a big storm. Hoot fell from tree, broke wing. Daffodil found her, put wing in tiny splint, and fixed all better. Woohoo!
What about your family?
Hoot had no family. Ever
Right.
since Hoot learned how to fly, Hoot go from nest, make own life.
Is there anything you miss about your life before Daffodil?
More murder.
There
Daffodil
was
only...
more murder?
Yes, Hoot mighty warrior.
So
Apex predator.
Daffodil has kind of influenced this and tamped it down a bit.
Daffodil says only hunt for what we need and no more, but who think it's funny to make the mice run away?
What's your favorite strategy for making the mice run away?
I drop from the sky like the mighty bird that I am, and I fall upon them with my fierce talons, and I snatch them up.
I thought you said you let them run away.
That's only for fun. I catch them after they start running. It is fun to see them scatter.
I see. There's lots of levels to this
Yes.
one. Okay.
Hoot is complicated person, multi-dimensional.
We change the music cue and go back to Flake. It's a beautiful, clear, cool day. Big fluffy clouds, bright blue sky. What do you like most about your walks with Thea? Am I saying that right? Thea. What do you like most about your walks with Thea?
Flake goes to talk and then immediately sneezes on the interviewer. Well, there's usually something interesting. Occasionally, we'll drop big rocks on the heads of people who ain't supposed to be here, and then occasionally, my favorite thing last week, we did the thing where we brought two clans of eagles together who were fighting over some dumb bullshit and explained to them that there's multiple sides to a mountain. There's this side of the mountain and the far side of the mountain, and you don't have to fight over, you can just go to a different... Eagles aren't very smart.
It's funny you should mention rocks, because rounding a corner you come across a beautiful vista, not unlike that backdrop behind Hopper. A ravine dotted with isolated pines and a snow-capped peak, but this beauty has been disturbed by a recent violent landslide. And Fa can roll Arcana or Nature, DC 15.
All right, that's going to be an Arcana check. Moment of truth for this dice. Shall ooh, yeah, that's a 15 plus 3.
This is not a landslide that could have formed on a slope. This is as if part of the mountain just fell straight down. And you want to take a closer look. How do you proceed?
I think that both Fa and Flake are going to basically like kind of start hopping down this torn up rock slide. They're both very squat and very nimble. Like they're unusually nimble for like that, like their, I don't know, general floofiness. And I think this is going to be trying to get onto the slide and then over and try to figure out what the precipitating incident or schism was. All right, camera
Sure.
lens.
So it takes you about a half hour to get down to the bottom of the rock slide, and you see a scene of devastation, a bunch of uprooted trees and disturbed earth. And I'd like Flake to make a perception check.
Let's see here. That'll be a. Is this a check or
It is a scent check.
It is a scent check. All right. Well, I get advantage on that. Don't fail me. That's an 18 plus 5 for a 23.
You smell death all around you, underneath
Like-
the rocks.
Like bad death or like the delicious death?
Both.
I do like aged meat.
I'd like you both, Flake and Fo, to make a perception check. This is a listening check.
Okay, we'll do. Oh wait, no, you're in dice jail now. Ooh, that's not great. That is a a 18 for Fia and a plus 5, 9 for Flake.
Flake sees Faye run about 80 feet away. Do you follow?
Absolutely, like as fast as my grubby little paws will carry me.
And as you get closer, you hear a small mewling cry. It must be 20 feet below the rocks. There's something alive down there.
Ooh, that's not good. No,
What do you do?
No, this is very bad. Very no. Fia is going to. I can't pronounce my own damn name, so don't feel bad.
Let this be a lesson to
Let this be a
everyone making
lesson.
characters.
Learn how to like. Is going to let's see. I think this might be an appropriate time for a enhance ability spell to enhance her strength. And to start trying to move rocks to enough to at least let Flake pass through and get to or find whoever.
So we see this, tiny, brown, dirty-haired halfling lifting these massive rocks, and Flake kind of pawing at them, trying to find purchase through them, but not yet. And as we pan away, as Fig just keeps moving rocks and moving rocks and moving rocks. Mangolin, you are walking with Driakmo, and you see great herds, great movements of herds and the predators that follow them moving across the grassland. It's not time for migration. It's not the season. Something is wrong. You set off to investigate. Where do you start?
I think I would like to probably burrow into the earth. Maybe feel the vibrations. Maybe smell for something. Not sure.
Yeah, make me a perception check.
Is this a scent check?
No, you're feeling the vibrations.
Okay. At which point, Driakmo is going to reach down and touch the very top of Mangolin's head with a finger and cast guidance on me. Okay, so I believe I just pull up my character sheet. That is 16. Oh,
With a
wait.
6,
No, pardon me. It is 19.
with a 19, you definitely can tell that all the vibrations and all the movement are going in the same direction. And you get the sense that they're probably moving away from something.
Yeah, I think Mangolin will scurry up Driakmo's arm and nestle in to kind of blend in with the scale mail there. And I will point my head in the direction of where they are fleeing.
So you and Driakmo go off in that direction. Before long, you come across a herd of tiny deer-like creatures with big protruding fangs. Driakmo knows that these are Giffort. and they're behaving strangely, and Driakmo can make an animal handling roll to see if he can figure out what's going on.
Okay. $11.
They're not moving. They're kind of circling. Something is wrong. As you get closer, you can see that they, while acknowledging your presence, are more preoccupied with the 3 fallen Giefort in the middle of this circle who are dead, tongues lolled out the side of their mouth. I'd like Mangolin to make a perception of sight.
Okay. Unfortunately, just a 10.
You don't see anything, but you can make either Mangolin or Driakmo can make a medicine or nature check to get a closer look at these dead Giefort.
Let me see. We are not the sharpest of druids, but Driakmo is going to try to make a medicine check.
Okay.
Worse. 5.
A screeching sound as a vulture comes by and scatters the herd and kind of lands nearby and does its like kind of little predatory hop. And you turn and look and see a circle of vultures maybe 200 feet in the distance, and then another circle of vultures maybe 400 feet in the distance. And go ahead.
I think just Mangolin just makes an kind of a worried noise. That's it.
You both walk in the direction of the circling vultures and see a trail of dead Giefort. This herd that you saw must have been 3 times the size that it is now. And you finally find yourself at a watering hole, and both of you can roll nature or survival.
Okay. Driakmo will do survival. And sorry, I bounced them out of my dish. Hold on. 16.
There are some odd growths on the surface of the water. Fuzzy, green. This water is poison. Driakmo can roll Arcana or Nature, DC 15.
Okay. 19 on the die with a +0 modifier, so.
Driakmo knows for a fact that it's impossible for this kind of algae to grow in this climate. It's impossible. And as you sit there puzzled, wondering how many other water sources have gone sour and how far this corruption has gone, we pan out and it's nighttime in the Arctic. Polaris and Aletheia are sitting by a fire. Aletheia, can you roll me a survival check to see what you just had for dinner?
Yeah. It's 19 plus 3, 21.
Double servings of your favorite food, which is
Arctic lemming.
just steaks
They
and
look
steaks.
cute, but they are very delicious.
And they're a nuisance. Someone needs to take care of them.
There's so many of them. Really, we're just helping. It's population control.
So if I had to guess, while Polaris is busy staring at the stars, Aletheia is doing the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can Aletheia roll an insight check for me?
Sure thing.
Looking for a DC 12.
And that's a 19 again. Huh? Plus...
Plus a bunch.
Yes, plus a bunch.
Something is bothering Polaris, but she's not saying anything. What do you do?
Well, I go right up to her legs and where her hand is, and I just kind of nudge her hand with my head, which actually helps with scent too. It's how I mark things.
And she scratches your ears and sighs deeply and says, something's not right. And she points out a constellation that you're familiar with. And I'd like you to make a perception check, DC 10.
So 5 plus 7, so 12.
This constellation is missing a star.
Well, how can that be? That's not correct.
And look there. This one is different. There's a star that shouldn't be there. And Polaris or Aletheia can roll Arcana or Nature. This is going to be a DC 15.
All right, I'll do Arcana with Polaris. 18 plus 8.
It's definitely... Polaris realizes that it's not a matter of looking out at the stars and seeing them come down. This is something that's coming from the ground up. Something seems to be encroaching from a particular corner of the sky, the southwest, just above the tree line, like an invisible arrowhead. And Aletheia, I'd like you to roll perception again, at DC 15.
3 plus 7, 10.
You're staring at this area, and you're wondering what's going on with this. And we start to zoom out, and a shooting star flashes across the night sky, and then abruptly disappears in the area that you're staring at, as if it went behind a curtain.
The stars are going out.
And we zoom out and into the forest. It's also nighttime. Daffodil is beginning her nighttime routine. And Hoot, you're hungry for a little bedtime snack. Why don't you roll survival?
13.
You've managed to catch a small lizard. And you've dragged it to this the crotch of the tree and the branches. And I'd like you to roll a perception. This is hearing.
Okay, I get advantage on those. All right, that's going to be 20, not natural.
You hear voices, maybe 150 feet away. What do you do?
I bite the head off the lizard
That's going to be my first question.
and think about this as I crunch the bones in my beak. And then, with the rest of the lizard body still in one talon, I take off to go listen in.
You fly in that direction, and you see, with your excellent dark vision, a group of 4 goblin scouts whispering to each other in the dark and marking trees with glowing magical symbols that flash brightly and then disappear. And I'm going to do, I guess, a GM shift here, and you screech and let loose a frightening roar. And these goblins squeal and flee. Daffodil comes running, maybe not a full minute later. And Daffodil, can you roll Arcana or Investigation? This is a DC 15.
Yes, I can do that. I have to switch to my other character sheet. You said Arcana?
Mm-hmm.
12.
You, at the direction of Hoot, wave your hand near one of the trees, and this magical mark lights back up. And it's Fae. You can't tell what it even says, let alone what the purpose is. And then Daffodil furrows her brow and waves her hand again in a much larger and forceful motion. And 2 trees near light up, then more, then more, then more, then more, in a straight line back where the goblins retreated to, off as far as you can see. It is at this point that all of the druids go to bed for the evening. Do the animals go to sleep when their persons sleep? Or are they busy doing something else? This is free for all.
I think Mangolin very much nestles very close to Driakmo, and Driakmo, typically very hardened skin, finds a softer spot on the ground, in the grass.
Driakmo and Mangolin go to sleep. Flake and Fae?
When Faye goes to sleep, say, I'm pretty smart for a raccoon, but there's not a lot to do around here. So I found a fair variety of pigments and clays, and I like to dip my paws in them and make little imprints on the side of the cave, liven it up a little bit.
You ever put the imprints on Fae?
I learned the hard way that it's a bad idea. She gets a wee bit grumpy when you put it on her face. She does not like that a little bit. And you just see Flake's eyes bug out a little bit. Like, clearly that was not a great life choice.
So the camera pans from Flake putting paw prints on the wall as the flames flicker. What about Hoot or Aletheia?
I think Hoot keeps watch on the branch above Daffodil, whichever tree she's chosen to sleep against.
Keeping watch?
Mm-hmm.
I think I will study the star charts, because while Polaris sleeps, at least I can be useful in that way. And we should have a record of what we just saw.
Okay, well, I hope none of you kids stay up too late tonight while your parents went to bed early. Druids, do you ever feel that strange sensation of falling as you're trying to sleep? You feel this, and then you feel something solid beneath your feet, and you open your eyes, and with another cue of the music, you are now in a familiar place. You are in the Dream Forest, where you have always communicated with Maro, who cannot appear on the physical plane, but speaks to you in dreams. You walk forward barefoot on soft moss toward a clearing bathed in bright light that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere. There are fallen logs arranged in a circle, and you hear a and then oh my god, it's so good to see you. And it's an Aarakocra with bright red, blue, and yellow feathers. Around her eyes and beak are streaks of white, and she greets all of you by name and gives you a big hug and kiss. And how are the babies? Oh, my sweet Flake must be this big by now. Oh, it's so, and we haven't been together in so long. Look at all of us here together. You look around the circle, and you recognize the other druids that serve Maro. There is a gaunt Minotaur with dirty blonde fur from the Great Desert by the name of Safar. There is a dark-skinned gnome whose clothes seem to be bound and wrapped in lots of vines and wears a lily pad as a hat. His name is Boudreaux, and he is from the swamp. And from the depths, Gabbro the dwarf, covered in dirt and soot, bald-headed with a beard, that goes down to his boots, and he looks grumpy as hell, but as soon as you make eye contact with him, he flashes a bright smile. Maro isn't here yet, so you druids can have to entertain yourselves for a moment.
For 10 seconds, I thought the Aarakocra was the god. That's why I was like losing my shit.
Yeah, no, I had the same reaction.
No, you know that this Aarakocra, her name is Vikendera, but she insists that you call her Vicky.
Oh, the druid mom. This is great.
Does anyone really know why we've been summoned?
Gabbro said, well, I mean, it's been a while. I guess isn't it time for the regular meeting?
There is something wrong.
Yes, I've seen this in the sky as well. Have any of you seen these things in your territories?
Have you all been having odd things occurring? Because there's Fae markings on my trees.
Somebody broke one of my mountains.
The stars are going out?
Algae in the grasslands.
I mean, I'm just a simple swamp dwarf, a swamp gnome, but I hadn't seen anything like that. I've been sheltering a tribe of the Kenku. I mean, y'all know they were disowned by Shrek just now, so they lost their wings and are learning to talk again. So I haven't been keeping around on goings on in the swamp. Looks like a swamp to me.
That must be very challenging. My sympathies.
Oh, thank you very much. The Minotaur, who seems a bit colder than the rest of them, says, I've not seen anything out of the usual, but in my territory, except above it, it was a huge flock gathering of dragons. Dozens of them, far, far above, traveling east.
Dozens of dragons?
Dragons?
That's not
Yes.
normal this time of year?
I never see dragons together at all. And certainly not in my desert. And Vicky clicks and whistles again and says, oh, but why are we all talking about that? I just know that, everybody's taking care of all of their environments the best that they can. And I mean, just the other day, I was telling these sea turtle babies that they need to chew on or else all the crabs were going to eat them. And I did the best I could.
Daffodil, ever the extrovert, goes over immediately and starts patting Vicky on the back. I'm sure the turtles are going to be fine.
Thank you.
Did you see them walking into the sea? Because once they're in there, they just take off like a shot.
Oh, yeah, but so few of them.
Statistically, that's
the nature of things.
In an almost sympathetic reaction, Driakmo attempts to pat Mangolin on the shoulder, but realizes that Mangolin isn't there in the dream, and just the fingers just meet the grooves of his tattoos.
I think Fair is being very, very reserved. She's just kind of plunked down exactly wherever and found a tree and is just kind of basically looking like a little hermity, but watching everybody with these beady gold eyes.
Gabbro gives you a nod. Is there anybody else that you wanted to talk to, or more talk amongst yourselves before you hear a voice that says, well, thank you all for coming? And without any of you noticing, a halfling has appeared in the middle of the circle of logs. He is shirtless, wearing suspenders that hold up pants that seem to be growing up from the ground, and has a bit of straw from the corner of his mouth. And says, well, I realize it's been a while since I gathered you all together, and Well, I guess there's a reason for that. I have to make a great request to you. There is to be a gathering of the gods, the likes of which has not existed since the beginning of time. And I need you all to go in my stead.
But we are not gods.
You see Gabbro and Boudreaux exchange a glance. Safar is kind of deadpanned. Now, I know you're not gods, but you are my scions, and well, truth be told, I trust you.
Polaris puts her hand up.
Yes, Polaris?
Yes, well, I had a question about what this gathering of the gods, what impact is that going to have on the magnetic polarity of this world?
Well, I can tell you that by nature of going to Trella and the furnace of creation will be well shielded from the outside world, as well as not influencing it too unduly. And when I say we, of course, I do mean you.
Won't there be some kind of incident if mortals show up in place of a god?
Oh, ain't no mortals getting to Trella. That's for sure. That's for sure. Oh, boy. Yeah, no, Trella's, it's far away, and you can't get there magically, and the magic there is so old and deep. There's no scrying, there's no teleporting to there. The disciples of Eberil had to get there 2 months early to get arrangements for you guys to get there. It's tomorrow, by the way, when you're going.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, first light.
And how are we going to get there on such short notice?
Oh, a portal. The Eberil mages will open a portal for you. It'll appear at the moment the sun cracks the horizon there, right at dawn.
Oh, I see.
It will be.
Do you mean the sun where we are, or the sun where they are?
Yeah.
That's not very helpful.
I'm sorry, how does this technology work? This portal technology?
You're welcome to ask the disciples of Eberil. I don't know how they had to build something, and that's why they got there early.
It will be nice for Mangolin to see a new place.
And you see Sahar kind of glare at you. Make an insight check, Driakmo.
17, I believe.
You know that Safar not only doesn't have an animal, but disapproves of the fact that you druids have animals to begin with. And Maro kind of catches this glance and says, well, Mangolin can't go. It's going to be scions of, Maro only. And all the other gods and scions. But, that's who I'm sending is y'all, is what I'm saying.
We can't bring our familiars.
No, I think they really just get in the way and not be appropriate and making noise and, I don't know, smells during the meeting.
Aletheia can read. I think that makes her suitable to come with us, wouldn't you say?
If we're going to discuss smells and noises, have you met the other gods? Disgraceful.
You hear
That's me saying it.
You hear and we can't just leave. They're helpless. You said, how long is this even going to be? We're going to leave them alone for Lord knows how long. And then Safar speaks up and says, the nature of the magic that they've used. These animals were once part of the wild, and now they are separated from it. They have a responsibility to these creatures. It is moral and just to bring them along. They are guardians. You see Maro put his head down and says, oh, heck. I guess I'll let the ARL boys know that another life form's coming through the gate. I'm sure it's fine. Listen, it's real important, this meeting, and I don't want to influence you. I want you to make a decision based on what you hear and not what I tell you. And that's why I can't tell you more. Guess I love all you. Yeah, kind of like my kids. I know things have been getting real bad. The Fae, it's coming to a head. That's kind of why we're having the meeting. Look, I'm gonna do that thing where I let you wake up with the best rest of your lives. I have a feeling.
Oh man, I love that.
I have a feeling that you're gonna need it. What questions do you have of me before I do the thing?
You can't tell us anything about what this council's supposed to be about?
No, I can't. Faye, roll a insight check. This is a DC 18.
That's that was a metal dice. It was just like, fuck your cutting board. That's a 19 plus 4, 23.
He desperately wants to tell you, and you get the feeling that he could be persuaded. And I'll tell you, that's a DC 18 persuasion check from anyone.
You're getting a little bit of Mikey Mike there.
Sorry, what?
That's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me to roll a DC 18 would require a 19 on the die. So I'm about as friendly as a brick to the face. And as subtle.
Well, I think Daffodil, ever the living up to her name, speaks up. I think we might make a bit better envoys, as it were, if we were to know a little bit more about what it is we were getting into. Even if it's the barest minimum, don't you think?
See, no, I can't.
Well, at the very least, if we're going to be conversing with a lot of gods that none of us really have ever talked to, I mean, we're not on the same level with them as we are with you. At least we know something. I mean, their favorite color, plant, a conversation starter at the very least that might be relevant to the meeting, I think.
Now, here's what I can tell you. You don't need to know about what the other gods want. You're just there to speak for me.
Daffodil puts on her best puppy eyes. You
see 18 persuasion.
And yep, there we go. What if it's an 18 on the dice?
18 does it.
I wasn't sure if you were going to
Daffodil.
put me down with that one.
Now, listen. We need an army to fight the Fae. And it needs to be built yesterday.
But
there was a plan back a few hundred years ago when the God Wars just got started. When one of the gods got an idea to create a new race, a new species, to create the orcs. And that's what this meeting's about. I can't tell you what I think about it. I want you to go and decide. But yeah, that's what it's about. It's about the orcs. Gonna see if all the gods are gonna agree to make a new. I've said too much.
The gods made the dune giants. They made my people, and many a fae have broken on the hills of the grasslands. This should be no different.
And that is exactly the kind of thing that I think you might say on my behalf at the meeting tomorrow.
Is this to establish their legitimacy and personhood?
That is one of the many questions that might be asked about the orcs.
Your ways are truly mysterious indeed.
It's gonna be a long conversation.
I should bring tea.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, I guess. And food, whatever it is y'all subsist on.
Will there be an orc representative? Do you know, Maro?
Oh, no, we wouldn't be deciding to make the orcs and deciding who controls the orcs. And, I mean, they don't exist yet. They would be an army created from nothing, unleashed on the Fae.
But presumably you're creating an intelligence at the same time.
Like I said, this would be a collective decision amongst all the gods, the primordial and the new. This is an unprecedented event, but we live in unprecedented times.
Daffodil slips some very thin bark with some charcoal over to Polaris to be like, perhaps you'd like to write some of these ideas down?
I think I shall. And she scribbles on the tree bark.
I realize that we're in a dream, but whatever.
The writing's all squiggles every time you look at it again.
So just to be clear, we can bring our wee babes.
Sure, hell, whatever. I mean, let them talk about the orcs too, I guess. Please don't tell anyone I told you. God.
Oh,
That'd
Hoot's
be
not
embarrassing.
liable to be paying that close attention. Bless her.
I mean, that was my argument for not bringing them in the first place, but...
Well, she'll sit and she'll be quiet.
And that is expected of everyone. You represent me well at this thing. I mean, me and the other primordial guys can't be there.
Mangolin is very well behaved.
I'm sure Aletheia will have an opinion.
I cannot leave Flake anywhere. He might actually destroy a mountain range if he's unsupervised.
You got like a rope or something you can tie around the neck, or...
Leash trainer raccoons, people. I don't know how many times we have to have this conversation.
Don't at me like this. He will behave. I'm sure of it.
Well, like I said, I trust you. I love you, and this is gonna be difficult. Gonna do that thing. You ready? And he claps his hands, and you wake up feeling like you've gotten the best sleep of your lives. And this is where we're going to take our break. Thanks so much for witnessing the first half of the first episode of Hearthward Bound. We'll be back in 10 minutes by my clock. That's 6:03 for the remainder of the stream. We'll see you then. It is just before dawn, and I'd like to quickly just hop from each of you. What do your animals understand about this trip that they are about to take? Mangolin.
I think Driakmo, knowing that both he and Mangolin are not the sharpest tools in the shed, are going to... Driakmo just kind of levels with Mangolin.
We are going a far place away to determine what is best for the world.
And I think Mangolin probably Dad is telling you what is going on, and Mangolin is just, okay. hand settles back into the gap between the scale mail pauldron and the bracer, and then just clombs onto the arm, forming a full sleeve on Driakmo.
And Aletheia.
Yeah, I think Polaris gives Aletheia a truncated primer in multiple worlds theory, and then uses that to introduce the fact that they will be going to another world. And I think she probably kind of hits the highlights of the God Wars previously. I mean, I think Aletheia has some working knowledge of them, but not a lot because it really hasn't impacted her. So I think she just sort of gives her the highlights that she might need to know in order to process the importance of making the decision about the orcs.
And Hoot?
So I think Daffodil comes awake from this dream. She takes her very long grassy wig and puts it over her bald head, and as she's like rebraiding all of the leaves and the grasses together for whatever hairstyle she wants that day, she's chatting to Hoot, and every time she's like, so they're going to put us through a portal, and Hoot just keeps going, a flight? A long flight? Yes, like a long flight, and we're going to go to someplace new, and you're going to need to be on your best behavior. Hoot is always on best behavior. Who are we going to murder? Will there be fighting? No, there'll be no fighting whatsoever, young lady. Do I make myself perfectly clear? No fighting at all. Hoot does not like the sound of this trip. Hoot not want to go anymore. You are going to go, and you are going to sit quietly on my shoulder, and you're not going to make a peep. Are we understood? And that's how this morning is going.
And Flake. What does Flake understand about this trip?
Flake, he does not understand too much. It's less of a problem of intelligence and more of it doesn't matter so much to him. First off, when Fia wakes up, there's a blanket over her that was not there before. The fire has been tended. Like you realize, like you kind of start to get the feeling that this might seem like a parental relationship, but there is very much a Flake takes care of Fia. Like she is not super functional and through the night, like doing little house gnome stuff. How Flake's a house elf, and a chubby little mischievous house elf. So the discussion goes a lot more like, we're gonna go to a faraway place through a portal, and you're gonna see a lot of things you haven't seen before, and I will cut your fucking paws off if you get your grubby little hands all up in something you shouldn't be in. And it's like, you get the feeling that the more aggressive and threatening she is, the sweeter it actually, like the subtext is. There's a direct inverse. It's like, oi, put a blanket on me again, I'll pitch you off the mountain. Which is like her way of saying thank you, I appreciate you. I think Flake doesn't care. I think it's less of a grokking and more of a lack of caring. It doesn't matter where, it just is going to go with Fia.
As promised, as dawn breaks, in front of each of you, a portal appears, shimmering silver like liquid mercury, and a slight metallic ring fills the air. You step forward, and as you do so, you see the other 8 druids of the Circle of Maro step through this giant stone ring onto the stone dais. You look beside you, and you see, in addition to your fellow druids, 2 dwarves on either side of this dais, and they're in 2-tone blue robes with gold trim, and in the parts of the bodies that you can see, they're filled with tattoos. And before you can look at anything else, you hear a click and a whistle and oh my babies, look at you, you're all here together now. Oh my, and look how you've grown. And Hoot, oh, you're just as good. It goes to each of you. This person you've never seen before, but seems to know and love you dearly. And I think you're all a bit too shell-shocked to react at all. And just, and it's going to be so lovely, don't you know? And let me tell you about the coast. Oh, the coast is so nice. Did you know the dolphins have been coming back? There are gently slow, actually, before we go down the stairs, can each of you tell me what everyone is seeing? Describe your characters again, and realizing that these animals have not seen anyone else before, so this is the first time they're seeing them. What do they see? Starting with we'll go in reverse order. Hopper, what do they see?
So I think when you see Fia, you see a halfling with like this kind of almost chestnut, like if you know what a horse chestnut looks like after it's out of its shell, like a buckeye, like that, like a very deep, rich, earthy skin, wild frizzy hair, with these kind of beady gold eyes. She definitely looks around in this very predatory manner. She's wearing a mixture of it looks to be a variety of different fur, mostly from all kind of roughly stitched together in this haphazard pattern, in this long, almost it's halfway between a great coat and a cloak. It's kind of seems to blend. There's sleeves, but it's a little bit more formless than a proper jacket or coat. And she is carrying a small knobbly quarterstaff that seems to be primed for whacking people with. And Flake is a very fat raccoon. It appears to be like a young adult, like fully grown, but like definitely spry, with a rather ragged left ear, and but overall, who seems to be basically like kind of crouching inside the opening of this fur cloak, just kind of peering out. You just see little eyes and the little mask peering out from the darkness.
Marcy.
So Daffodil is a rather tall human woman. She has most of her body is covered in burns pretty extensively. She's wearing a wig that's artfully druid crafted that she changes pretty much every day to suit whatever she's feeling. Right now it's long and grassy, very ethereal looking. She's wearing a gown of flowers and moss and grass that she's clearly also druid crafted around her. She has one arm up to the elbow that's clearly made of tree bark, and also might be a bit of druid craft, and some of the plants that she has tended have sort of helped her out. She's got a couple more articulated like fingers that she's got attached via a glove on her left hand. But other than that, she's always regal, and she's always very friendly with an open smile and sparkling big brown eyes. And on her shoulder is the tiniest owl in existence. These are real owls. I just want to point out, these are called elf owls in real life, but we changed it to pygmy. But do yourselves a favor and look these little murder children up, because they're freaking adorable. And it's just sitting ever so slightly on her shoulder. I think right now Hoot is all like puffed up because there are all these people, and like one of them was like coming over and probably trying to be like, I want to give the scritches, and she's like, no scritch. And she's got those like big yellow eyes, just like, and she, like her head is doing the full 360 right now.
Wonderful. Marissa.
Yeah, so Polaris is an Azamar druid, and so she kind of has this sort of celestial glow about her, and you could almost sense that if you looked closely enough at her very long curled hair, that you could almost see like stars kind of wink and glimmer in it. She's dressed in a very long gown that's nipped in at the waist, and she wears an overcoat that's the exact same length as the gown, with sort of fur trim, much like this, except it's what looks like kind of woven snow that doesn't melt. And she wears sort of like a headdress tiara that's made out of icicles and ice crystals. She has very piercing light blue eyes that are just, as clear as ice. And that's the only word to sort of describe them. And next to her is what can only be described as a floof, a very, very fluffy Norwegian forest cat, also known here as snow cat. She's very mottled in color, so she's mostly white and silver, with kind of tabby striping along her legs, but she has white paws, so she's kind of got that tuxedo cat white paws going on, and then she has very, very piercing green eyes. And Aletheia probably loves it when Vicky comes around to kind of coddle each of the animals, and as she gets pet, she just sort of looks like, yes, please, pet me, pet me. I deserve all of this praise.
You certainly do. Yes, you do.
Indeed.
And Zach.
I think easily the biggest of the druids, standing a full 8 feet tall, is this incredibly large, very broad and muscular Goliath Druid. And where other Goliaths of different places have tattoos, it is very clear that from this kind of hardy, sand-colored skin, that a chisel has been taken and basically ringed around in different formations around the skin, which is basically Driakmo is wearing scale mail with 2 scimitars strapped to his back, one across the other. Actually across the front, because that's more practical. And not only that, but where the scale mail doesn't touch is where the skin pokes out. But chiseled into patterns are almost the topographical maps of hills and dunes, as is the way of the descendants of dune giants. And there is one very elaborately kind of chiseled mark underneath his Adam's apple, which signifies among the Goliaths that he is the voice of the earth. So not only that, but where you see a bracer and a pauldron on one side and a break in the skin, you would see what would normally look like another long sleeve of scale mail, except Mangolin, who is perched there, this squat pangolin, has kind of curiously taken his long snoot and neck and is craning around to look at all of the other druids and familiars, and there's just these bright little chocolate brown eyes that kind of gaze out around the world. And right around this midsection, strapped into a belt, is a very long kind of hewn from one piece of wood flute that Driakmo carries. And I would say if it were made for someone smaller, it might even look like a portable didgeridoo of some sort, but in his hands it's very clearly a flute. And as Mangolin kind of cranes his neck around, you just see this giant finger touch very gently the top of Mangolin's head and stroke it.
Wonderful. All of you see Gabbro, the dwarf from the depths, and his kind of soot and dirt stained appearance, his shining bald head and long beard. You see Boudreaux of the swamp, and Sahar, this kind of diminutive-looking Minotaur with blonde fur. And you are on this stone dais, and there are gently sloped stairs in front of you. And as you take them, you turn and see this giant stone ring that's easily 30 feet across. You all walked through a small portal and exited through a large one. It's stone, but it's fastened at joints with this strange-looking material that none of you can identify. And runes that were glowing brightly are beginning to fade. And I need all of the druids to roll a perception and let me know if you get 13 or higher.
25.
10.
That'll be a nat 20.
Fuck.
27.
What'd you get, Marcy?
18.
So everyone but Polaris notices that the runes that are on this stone circle are the same as the tattoos on the dwarves. You see an old human approach you dressed in the same two-tone blue robes with gold trim, holding a large staff, and says, "This way, if you please. The next arrivals are coming soon." And you have time to step to the side to see the dwarves moving their hands in perfect mirror formation over these small panels, and the runes begin to glow again, and this liquid mercury substance seems to pool around from the edges, coming in to the center, and once it meets, it ripples slightly. And a moment later, a towering Minotaur, easily 12 feet tall, walks through the portal. His fur is jet black and his eyes glow a brilliant white. He's wearing a loose white shirt, tight trousers. His face is covered in piercings, and the largest scimitar you've ever seen hangs at his side. He grunts, looks around, spits on the ground, and walks through the group of druids, bumping you to the side, and begins walking up this path. Sorry about that, says the old man. This is a high traffic area. On behalf of the disciples of Eterola, welcome to Baki. And he bows. My name is Sulion. Please make your way up the path. And he points you to the path that the Minotaur just took. A curved sloping path, and a bit, maybe about 300 feet away, 300 feet down the path with as much elevation, it goes up to what looks like a partially open clamshell, a natural rock formation. Behind you and below you, a massive caldera of a volcano long since stopped. It's easily 2 miles wide. You can barely see to the other side of it. And then very steep cliffs drop off, and I think everybody but Faye and Flake are feeling the thinness of the air up here. As you walk up this ramp, I need all of the animals to make a wisdom saving throw for me.
Natural 20.
18 plus 6. 24.
Okay.
19.
17.
Everyone is on their best behavior, and no one gives into the urge to explore this brand new place with all these strange people. It takes a short walk to get to the top of the summit. And this area, the two clamshells, it's kind of structured like a stadium, and there's terraced seating all up on these cliffs. In front of you, opposite the entrance, there is a kind of a raised altar on one side, and as far as you can tell beyond it, just sheer cliff. And you are not the first people to arrive. There are dozens and dozens of people here from many different species, dressed in wildly different styles of clothing, and some are very strange looking and definitely look dangerous and mean. It's clear that many of the humans, dwarves, gnomes, and other mortals are here as representatives, same as you, but you're pretty sure that some of these creatures are actually gods. That you see that Minotaur with the brilliant glowing eyes has taken a seat near the front. Near him is a sober-looking woman with a elongated neck, probably about a full foot, and this neck is ringed with necklaces. She's wearing flowing white robes and conversing with a muscular, lion-maned tabaxi holding the largest great axe any of you have ever seen. Seated next to each other on the opposite side are a Goliath and a human of equal size. The Goliath wears nothing but a loincloth with a giant maul resting handle up on the ground. You can see a very prominent bright white scar across his gray skin going from hip to shoulder. He is hunched over in close conversation with this human in shining armor with not a hair out of place, as if, military precision. You see near you where you've entered, so kind of for the perspective of the altar, standing in the back, a large canid type creature that I don't think any of you have ever seen, animals and druids alike. It seems to be staring at nothing with a little bit of drool coming out of its jaw and plopping on the ground. You see at the top to your right side, like at the top of the bleachers, as it were, a creature that is shrouded in shadow. You can't even make out their shape, and the shadow seems to be dripping from it. Sitting next to this figure is a woman with just the most beautiful smile you've ever seen. Fair brown skin, long hair and black curls with a crown of flowers. And she wears what looks like a peasant's dress, but you can tell even from this distance it's of the softest material you've ever seen. And she's laughing and talking with the creature in black shadow. And as the shadow drips towards her, it seems to evaporate in steam. On the other side of the bleachers, as it were, a figure about 6 feet tall with vaguely humanoid features, but they seem to be made of pure light, and you can't look directly at them. More people filter in behind you, and you hear like a high-pitched whir and like a very Roadrunner-esque a toga and sandal-wearing figure with gnomish features, but human-sized, easily 6 feet tall, appears out of nowhere, says, "Did I miss anything?" And then you hear what? "No, we haven't started yet." I need the animals to roll another wisdom save.
Oh.
Oh, no.
God, I want to fail so bad.
I think. Oh, and you did, didn't you?
Shout out to the 2 crew.
Oh, damn.
A natural 1.
Wow.
17 for Mangolin.
17, 2, 1, and
13 plus 7, so 20.
so Flake and Hoot. People are talking, and it's boring because you don't understand any of it. What are you getting into?
Felony and murder. It's the two of it. It's the
out of
raccoon and the owl.
all the creatures that were just described, did any of them sound familiar, or are you just exploring the periphery of this place?
I think this is I think Flake is going to kind of basically what he's been doing up until now is darting in and out, and anytime Fia stops, he'll dive into the confines of that fur, like that stitched fur cloak, and then pop out and then scamper off to something. He's doing a lot of zigging and zagging.
You got the zoomies?
I got the zoomies. The zoomies hard, and I think at some point, there on one of these zoomie expeditions, Alethea and the rest of the druids that are representing Maro are lost to sight. So I think now there's a lot of like just kind of like looking around and just kind of like sniffing. There's a lot of snuffling and just like
And a lot of
surreptitious-
legs. Just a lot of legs.
a lot of
everywhere.
legs, and like, you know, Flake's just like snuffling and just being like and like kind of like creeping around corners. We get a lot of shots of like rising up from behind things.
You're getting some stares for sure. What is Hoot up to?
I was going to ask if there's anything that any of these gods like have coming off of their forms or just around them that looks like it could be like prey size that I would want to like spring upon.
No, the only thing that really catches Hoot's eye is that figure that was sitting next to the pure black figure. This woman seems very similar to Daffodil.
Hoot goes over and starts playing in their hair.
The woman starts singing a beautiful song that kind of in the same range as your little chirps, and you know, effortlessly lifts you out of her hair and says, you know, and brings you in front of her face and says, "You don't know how close you came to dying, little one," and lets you off into the
What?
the figure in black. You hear going. What
god is she?
Druids of Maro, where would you like to sit? Where would you like to position yourself in this stadium? You could be near the front, on the left or the right side, in the middle, standing in the back.
I imagine we all kind of want to stick together as we are the collective voice.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever Driakmo ends up, he's just going to stand and fold his arms and wait. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Fia is just like basically using Driakmo as a landmark. Like, she's like 3'2", y'all. Like, this is all legs to her as well.
I think Polaris will try to like go towards the front and see whether the other druids kind of follow her there, just because she's used to being like grade A student and wants to be like in front of the class.
Sahar, Boudreaux, Gabro, and Vicky follow. Do the rest of you as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do any of you have anything you'd like to do before this meeting starts?
I think that Mangolin, just out of curiosity, and just because that giant Goliath with the scar looks so much like his dad, that I think he's just going to kind of watch him and maybe see if he can get a sniff.
You look at this Goliath, and he turns and looks back at you, and you see his eyes are bright gold, and he looks deep into Mangolin's soul and seems to like what he sees and nods, and then turns back to his conversation.
Likewise, Aletheia is interested in the tabaxi. I don't think she's probably ever seen a tabaxi before, and I think she will very respectfully go up to the tabaxi and just kind of stare up at them and their like leonine mane.
It takes a minute for the tabaxi to notice you, and for a moment, his very severe-looking face drops into a softer expression, and then it gets hard again, and he looks around and sees Boudreaux and Sahar and the rest of the druids and says, and kind of, not forcefully, but shoves you away with his foot.
Aletheia is very affronted by this and thinks now all cat people must be incredibly rude.
I could just see the body language of this cat walking away. This is wonderful. There
Who's
is
the shiniest.
the shiniest. Oh, the creature made of pure light.
Who's the second shiniest?
The second shiniest. The second shiniest would probably be, honestly, the armor on that large human talking with the Goliath is just spit shine perfect. It gleams.
I think Flake would definitely basically have been slowly doing a fat little raccoon hops in that general direction.
He looks at you and says, "Boo!" Roll me a what would that be? Wisdom save.
God. That's a wrong character sheet. That's a 14.
14. You give a good hiss in return, but you pooped a little bit. There is a tapping of a staff, and a loud voice belonging to a balding middle-aged man in dark robe says, "It's time." And all the druids get a good look at him, and you can make a history or an arcana check.
Natural 1.
15. What is this, our druid or our?
This is your druid.
Okay. 15 plus 8 is 23.
13 here.
10.
Polaris, you know that this is a representative of Torobos, the primordial god of time. Appropriate that he is letting us know that it's time for this meeting to start. A creature that looks like a lizard that learned to stand upright with a giant heater shield on its back says, "But not all are present. Where are the scions of Eris, Dagathur, Pelham, and Shore? Once again, the primordials insult us." Once the druids can roll a history and arcana to see if you know what they're talking about.
10 again.
12 on the die this time. I think that's without a modifier.
19 plus 8. So I think safe to say we know.
That's a 13 again.
Okay. Once again, Polaris, you know that these are the primordial gods of air, earth, fire, and water. And you do look around, and their scions are indeed missing. The long-necked woman stands and walks to the altar. She nods to the man in the dark robes, who nods back. And though her lips do not move, her voice echoes inside your own skull. "It is time indeed." All the side conversation stops, and people who were standing take their seats, with the exception of that Canid who still stands drooling. For a moment, there's complete silence. The reverberating voice continues. "The betrayal of Sapphirex and her dragons is upon us, and the time for us to act has come. They have joined with the Fae, and their strength has the power to turn the tide. Jean is dead." A concerned murmuring comes up from the crowd. The druids can roll arcana and history.
10.
4 plus 8, 12.
30, 10.
None of you know who Jean is. A voice called out, "How?" And the voice, "The dragons attacked en masse and turned the entire city to glass. Jean fought valiantly to the end." You see a moment of recognition in Sahar's face, the dragons that he saw flying over his desert. This was their target. The lion-maned tabaxi lowers their face and silently sobs. It brings me no pleasure to say this, but we must do the unthinkable. We must make the orcs. And chaos ensues. Loud shouting and voice. Oh, who's going to control them? Where are they going to live? They'll destroy us all. A blasphemy against... Oh, surely a creature would worship me and not them. We cannot stop the Fae without them. So what? We beat the Fae and then what? All this cacophony is going on. And the druids of Maro are huddled together. You can make a perception check to see the temperature of the room.
Natural 20.
Damn.
Nice. 23.
15.
Shout out to the Nat 1 crew again.
Polaris is carrying the team, y'all. Polaris, you can tell that there are some questions being asked in good faith, some questions being asked in bad faith, but as far as the split, if you could tell the voices in favor and voices against, it seems to be pretty even. What do you think we should do? Boudreaux speaks up and says, never thought I'd see the day when I would create a weapon so unholy and use it myself, but what choice do we have?
There is a quiet, simmering anger in Driakmo as he hears this talk. And I think that Driakmo is going to say amongst the other druids,
I would like to say something, if it's all right. If it is wise.
I'm almost positing it to the druids as kind of like a courtesy.
What exactly are you going to say?
The truth.
Daffodil will bang her wooden staff repeatedly on the floor to like try to see if she can get like some measure of silence for Driakmo to speak.
It's not quite doing it. You need to get a little extra oomph. How do you do it?
Let me see what I've got in my bag of tricks. I could always. Yeah, that feels pretty intense.
And
I don't have anything to create sound, unfortunately.
I do.
May I posit something?
what's that?
Watching this not work, I think that Fia, you just see like her kind of like scrunch in on herself a little bit, just getting saltier and saltier, and then eventually just pulls out that staff and and just points it straight up and shoots a lightning bolt into the sky.
Okay.
I think simultaneously while you do that, I think Polaris will cast her Thunderclap evocation cantrip to create a loud noise while that lightning happens.
I'm going to rewind a little bit because once the meeting started, I think it was terribly dull and all the animals need to roll a wisdom save.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Ah!
Natural 20!
Okay.
Oh, also natural 20. What?
Oh, shit.
Oh my
The
god.
best behaved boy!
9.
And Flake?
30-18.
Okay. Hoot,
Yep.
you have hopped and flown, and you are now at the rear of the stadium arena band shell. You're actually you're perched on top of it. And we'll get back to you in a minute.
What crime shall I commit?
The animals that have succeeded their wisdom saves, this conversation amongst the druids, you are understanding, and you would like to be involved. So this lightning happens, the thunderclap happens, and the Goliath with the maul says, "Okay, we can all make loud noises. Let's listen to the druids."
And Driakmo is going to step forward, and I think Mangolin might kind of scrabble up to the shoulder from the arm, and once again just kind of lay flat, but this time kind of like looking out at all of these faces staring back.
It occurs to me that while you are talking of these people, they don't factor in the idea that they have their own choices to make. My people, my ancestors, we roved the dunes. Some were good, and some were bad. Some feasted off of the land, regardless of what the world needed. And some of us were good to each other. These people you intend to make, if you do intend to raise them as an army, they should still have a choice, still have a voice. Much
You hear
like
a voice as he yells out, "I was like, of course they wouldn't have a choice. We're using them as a weapon. What? Give the weapon free will?" And then rah, 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 rabble, rabble, rabble starts again. Hoot, I need you to make a perception check. This is a DC 18.
That is a good thing that I have advantage. Oh boy. Okay, that is 24. Now I roll well.
The 24. You see far down where you entered at the portal, two figures you can't quite make out appear from the ground, quickly chop at the necks of the dwarves who drop, and they begin opening the portal.
No, I think like Hoot is literally like frantically like
The rabble
doing the
is
alarm call.
so loud right now.
Oh god, Hoot goes down to Daffodil.
Okay. So right now, Hoot has come down to Daffodil. Driakmo has just finished his speech, and the druids are discussing. And Sahar says, "I don't know why we are wasting our time. We should have the vote and get it over with."
Hoot's like frantically like trying to get Daffodil's attention.
Yeah, you get Daffodil's attention. What do you say?
What is it? Like strangers. It's like, but yes, everything here is it's large, I know, but you have to calm down just a bit. Like, who can't convey everything that she's seen in enough? Like, she's just like, things. It sounds more like she's having an attack of just like too many strange things, and I don't like it. Take me somewhere. And like Daph's just trying to be like, okay, right, but we got to solve this problem right now, and isn't paying attention.
And so, unfortunately, Hoot's warnings fall on deaf ears. And
Ears.
Oh. And stream over. And that reverberating, calm voice cuts into your head, and within less than a second, all of the conversation stops and says, This decision must not be made lightly. But it must be made soon. If we decide today to light the furnaces of Baki, and she's interrupted by a slight tremor in the mountain. You all feel it. It's not big. People are looking around. If we decide today to light the furnaces of Baki, it will be months until boom! A huge explosion from down the hill, and a roar of what sounds like a dragon. People begin to stand and move, and from beneath the ground, behind the woman in white, a figure in gray skin and flaming hair just appears from the ground and casts a wall of flame, obscuring the woman. The sound of tumbling rock behind you as the walkway is crumbling down, and you see a similar gray-skinned figure, much larger, bigger built, with a hair of flames. And then in the middle of the arena, 2 more gray-skinned creatures tunnel up from beneath the earth, throw their hands together and yank them apart, and the entire summit is covered in fog. Roll initiative.
No!
As who?
Yes.
To keep it simple, roll for your druids, and that will be what the animal uses.
Cool.
Oh, fuck. Now I have to roll. Oh, my God.
Yes, you do too.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome to DMing.
This is terrible. Why did I agree to do this?
Bill, would you like
so
a
much.
different music cue?
I would like different music. Thank you, producer. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Oh yay.
It's not good for you.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, no.
I don't know what you're talking about. My adrenaline's up. We're gonna rock. Let's go.
Fighting time.
Or okay. Hit me with those inish.
15 for Driakmo and Mangolin.
Okay.
16 for Aletheia and Polaris.
12 for Daff and Hoot.
19 for Fiat and Flake.
Okay.
Fleek.
The ground continues to shake, and the roar of what can only be a dragon gets louder. And through this fog, you see the kind of muffled light of flame, and you hear screaming. Let's see. They rolled so good. You hear the sound of screaming and punches and blows and metal against armor. And it is Fea's turn.
Thanks, I hate it. Can I see anything?
You can see Boudreaux and Gabro have been knocked to the ground, and Sahar is injured. He has already gotten a black eye from someone or something. You can't see much else.
Okay, I think then I am going to. I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability on myself. With that being Wisdom, because that's my spellcasting modifier. I think so. You also you see Thea, kind of stand back and then drop the robe. The robe / cloak / coat, this kind of formless thing, and she is wearing armor underneath. It appears to be like this this thin leather covered with scales of granite. This pink volcanic granite that is just cascading down her chest and arms. It looks pretty fucking heavy, actually. And she just wraps her staff on the ground, and then and you see the tip begin to glow a little, like kind of glow with this slightly greenish bluish light, and before it diffuses over her.
All right. Anything else?
Flake is climbing up her back.
Okay. Anything else for your turn?
No.
Everyone make a dex save.
Oh, I hate that.
No.
Oh no.
Okay. All right.
15.
16.
13.
For both our companion and the druid.
Yes, please.
Oh.
Okay. One moment.
DC is 13.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, just made the 13 for Hoot, and again the 15 for Daffodil.
Awesome. Okay.
That's that is, yeah. It's just made it for Flake.
So 17 for both Driakmo and Mangolin.
Okay. So did everyone pass?
Yeah.
Okay. Then everyone takes 5 bludgeoning damage, but you are not knocked prone.
Nice.
And that goes for both characters again.
It goes for both characters. You can't see where this came from, but definitely an earth tremor was cast in your direction. Next up is Polaris.
Right. So can I tell how far the dragon is from me?
The dragon has just made a pass, so you guys were sitting kind of near the front, so there's a wall of flames that is somewhat visible through this smoke near the front of the altar, and the dragon made a pass right through the middle that caught everybody that was kind of standing up and wondering what to do, and hit the middle. So there's kind of like a cross, a T of flame and smoke everywhere.
Do I see an enemy within 40 feet of me?
You don't see one, but I will allow you to roll a perception check, DC 17.
Cool. So that's 15 plus 3, 18. Just make it.
So you whip around and realize that one of these gray creatures with kind of flaming hair is flying through the air and sending quick punches at people and knocking them down, and you see them going towards their next target, and their next target is the woman with the flower hair circlet.
Cool. I cast Slow, which is a spell which has a range of 120 feet. You alter time around up to 6 creatures of your choice in a 40-foot cube within range. Each target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be affected by the spell for the duration.
Okay. What is your... Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah. This spell lands. You see this creature that you can now tell that was being propelled by furious winds. The winds are moving slower, and this creature is not able to reach the woman in the flower circlet. Next up is Driakmo.
Okay. So what can Driakmo see? Kind of like in terms of targets of opportunity.
I'll give you a perception check, same as before for Polaris, but you can't see anything.
Okay. Do I see any offensive creatures on an individual scale?
No, you can hear combat happening.
Okay.
In front of you and to the right of you.
All right.
But there is a wall of flame in front of you.
All right. Let me see. I think then that for that wall of flame, I see it as an immediate impediment to making any headway. So Driakmo brings forth he basically kind of gestures with his arms, claps his forearms together, and casts Ice Storm on it.
Hey.
And basically a hail of hard rock ice pounds into a 20-foot radius in a 40-foot high cylinder. So however high the flames go, I'm trying to extinguish them.
Yeah, you successfully do so. You've extinguished a portion, like where the T sections meet. You've distinguished like this large portion here. So there's a little bit of flame over here and more flame towards the entrance. But that flame is now gone.
Okay, so making a hole. I will say that anything that was caught in there has to make a dexterity saving throw or take 2d8 bludgeoning damage and 46 cold damage.
Okay, let's rolling 2 dice for baddies and 2 dice for friendly fire.
Okay.
1 baddie saved.
Okay.
And so how much damage?
26 halved for the baddie.
Okay. That was this guy.
So,
and yeah, a bunch of friendlies took some damage there.
Okay.
You don't know who.
Shit. Okay. But nevertheless, I am going to run into the fray, or Driakmo is, and Mangolin is going to firm up and bonus action dash off.
Where are you running?
I was gonna say wherever it seems like I'm gonna do the most good.
Yeah, I mean, pick a direction. It's all fog.
Oh shit. Oh damn. That's what I should have done. Okay. Yeah, I guess where I saw all the gods, I think, makes the most sense.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, they're kind of evenly dispersed, but we'll say that you can go through this place that you just cleared with your ice and extinguish the fire. So you run towards the opposite side, and you see bodies on the ground, human, gnome, and you see the body of the human in the plate armor. He is unconscious on the ground, and one of the smaller gray-skinned creatures with flames for hair kind of hops backwards back into the fog.
Mangolin completely, I think Mangolin's gonna charge forward as quickly as they can, and is going to bonus action dash to try and like reach out and grab it.
Do it.
Okay.
Make me an attack roll at disadvantage.
Okay. Okay, so disadvantage. It is going to be +6 to hit. 11 or no, 12.
Just hit. Roll your damage.
All right, he takes 2d8 from so 11 points plus 3 from my dexterity mod, so 14 total.
And that is Driakmo. It is Daffodil.
Still shrouded in fog. Can't really see anything.
Correct. You can see your fellow druids around you. And you just saw Driakmo run and disappear into the fog.
Yeah, I think without the visibility, I think she'd be hesitant to set off anything long range, which is mostly what she specializes in. So instead, she's going to cast Barkskin on herself.
Mm-hmm.
So for flavor and fun, what this looks like is the prosthesis that she has for her right arm just starts growing up and over her shoulder until it starts to consume her body and form this like hooded, like almost hood that looks kind of like a hollow of a tree. And she is gonna like ready in action for when she sees someone coming her way. 1 second, I just have to check something. I don't normally play casters, so do bear with me as I learn things today. Yeah, I'm gonna ready this as a bonus action, but it is technically an action, so I can't do it yet. But just for fun and flavor, she's gonna hit her staff on the ground and it changes into a thorn whip.
Hell yeah.
And she just sort of tests it against the ground. And I think Hoot, if we're able to do both, banning 2 characters, can rely on her hearing, not just her sight. And I think she'd love to find herself some like jumbo-sized prey in this fog. But she's gonna rely on a lot of her keen hearing. She can pinpoint.
Make me a perception roll with advantage, but also make me a wisdom save.
All right, I can do both. This is the perception first. Coming at you with a, oh yeah, that's a 19 on the dice. And that is going to be, 1 second. I don't do math very well. For 26, that's the perception. The wisdom save is going to be a 14.
All right, that's good enough. You hear something happening behind you and to the right, and you fly towards there, and you realize that the largest thing that you can see is that giant Minotaur, and you're probably not going to attack him. You want to
No.
whatever.
I think because like Hoot did see some of these creatures that were coming in. I think she has a good enough idea about who's the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's currently engaged with a creature that it seems to be gearing up to cast a spell. What do you do?
I'm going to stab it with my talons.
Roll an attack.
Yay! Yes, I am a fierce creature.
It's not 20.
Woo! Roll that damage, baby.
Oh my god, that's gonna be 4d8.
Let's do it.
Yes.
4d8?
Let's do it.
Good god. Okay.
Murder owl indeed.
I wasn't planning on that, so hang on a second while I find 4d8. Okay, one. Math.
Everybody. Sorry.
I'm getting a calculator out here. That's how you know it's serious. $18 points of damage.
What do you do to this creature?
I let out a very fierce woohoo, and I dive bomb into this thing, and I'm just sort of like how an owl would kind of flap in, and like the talons are extended to how they would snatch prey. Instead of snatching it, I'm like just raking my claws down its back.
I'm gonna shift a little bit. You've come at its face.
Oh, I'm gonna claw its eyes out.
And you've clawed it so hard that it sends a watery sphere that was targeting this Minotaur straight up into the air. Missing its target, the Minotaur lets out a large roar that seems a bit like a laugh. It holds up his scimitar, and lightning comes down through this watery sphere and back channels to this creature with the flame, doing a shit ton of damage.
I'm gonna tag team with the Minotaur. Go, you crazy
Jesus.
little owl.
Jesus. Okay, that was the water gymnastics. That was the okay. You see, it's your other druid's turn. So, Vicky, you see, just flap her wings and fly up into the air. Boudreaux and Gabbro stand up, and Gabbro tends to Sahar, who is incapacitated. His injuries are preventing him from being useful in this fight. And Boudreaux casts a powerful wind spell that clears away the fog in this. If it were divided into quadrants, this entire top left quadrant that you were sitting in is now clear, and you can see lots of bodies around you. It is back to the top of the order, and unfortunately, you can see now with this clear vision, an adult red dragon now has undisturbed eyeline to a group of druids that have just cleared away some smoke, and makes a diving pass. I need everyone to roll a dex save.
Ooh. Does that include our familiars?
Mm-hmm. You can roll once if you like.
Oh, I will take that roll once.
Looking for a 13 or better?
Natural 20.
Hell yeah.
Amazing. 14 plus 2, 16.
Exactly 13.
Yeah, 19 plus 3 or 5, depending on whomst it is.
Everybody but Sahar dives out of the way.
Oh no.
Oh, boy.
Sahar.
And you all take. Oh Jesus, 9 points of fire damage, and Sahar, I think, is probably not coming back from that. The creature that has been hit by the slow spell. Remind me, how does the slow spell affect casting of spells?
So hang on. Let me just pull that up again because I was doing hit points. Okay, slow. There are up to 6 targets within the 40-foot cube that I have selected. So obviously the person who was targeting the circlet woman is within that 40-foot cube. But if there are 5, potential enemies around them, they also could have been selected. In terms of casting, let's see, affected target speed is halved. On its turn, it can either use an action or a bonus action, but not both. If the creature attempts to cast a spell with the casting time of 1 action, roll a d20 on an 11 or higher. The spell doesn't take effect until the creature's next turn, and the creature must use its action on that turn to complete the spell. If it can't, the spell is wasted.
Okay, hold on a second. This is a casting time of 1 action. What's the roll?
11 or higher.
If it's 11 or higher, what happens?
11 or higher, the spell doesn't take effect until the creature's next turn, and the creature must use its action on that turn to complete the spell. So this is a concentration spell, so it's sustained.
So the spell that this creature is casting, it's moving its arms and saying the words too slowly to finish its task. Next up, this is the creature that Driakmo just fucking wailed into. This creature crushes a bit of phosphorus in its hands, and sparks fly, and a fire shield goes up around it. Let's see. And Driakmo, make me a dex save.
Okay.
DC 12.
All right. Just missed it. 11.
I want you to take 6 fire damage as the shield singes you on the other side. It disappears beneath the earth.
Okay.
Rolling into the hole. Next up is Faye and Flake.
Whomst is closest to the pair? They're still together.
Whomst is closest to what pair?
To moi.
Oh, you're close to all of your other druids with the exception of Driakmo.
But what enemies?
What enemies that you can see? You can see.
I mean, the dragon, I presume.
Yeah. The dragon has kind of made another pass and is gone. You can see the creature that is slowly casting a spell, the one that Polaris has cast.
Oh, fuck that guy in particular.
Yeah.
All right. So Fiat is gonna cast a 4th level lightning bolt.
Ooh, what do I need to do?
Dex save 15.
Okay.
Which, if it has slow, it may have disadvantage on.
Oh, tell me. Well, it didn't. It didn't do it anyway.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. I get to roll a shitload of dice.
All right.
I've been I was like, ooh, which 96 am I gonna? Oh, so fun story. I get to re-roll ones. I have 3 fucks on these dice. I get to re-roll those thanks to the lightning elemental feat. Oh, that was great. Okay, so that is 3 6s.
Whoo!
Okay, so that's 3 3 2 2 10 28 32 34 points of lightning damage.
Holy shit.
Yes.
Okay.
And then Fia's gonna run forward and chuck Flake at, like, just basically give like just gonna move forward and just be like
Fastball special?
shot put
How
a
far
fat raccoon.
How far can Fea throw a raccoon?
I think it's a combo. It's more how far can Flake jump?
Okay. I'm gonna make me a straight dex roll. I'm looking for 16 or better.
I'm not sure if
last
that's how
contender.
physics work. Is it just a 16? I need some physics on how far a halfling can throw a raccoon.
A straight
Okay.
dex.
Straight dex.
That's 15 on the dice, so
Okay.
a more. If it's it's.
I mean, this thing's
18?
yeah. This thing's like 30 feet away, and I'm gonna.
I can
say-
move 25 feet, so I'm
Yeah.
running. I'm
Yeah.
running up to it and then throwing a raccoon 5 feet.
Yeah, and it's so it got hit with the lightning and is going. What?
And then it just turns, and you just see a fat raccoon going through the air. Yes. All right. So, ferocity. As a bonus action, you can enter a ferocious form that lasts for 1 minute. While in your ferocious form, you have advantage on attacks made with your natural weapons. If you reduce a creature to 0, blah 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 blah, you can use your bonus action to make another weapon attack. So I have multi-attack. So I'm going to go back to new contenders. So advantage on the first attack, which will be a bite.
Mhm.
That is an 18 plus 5, 23.
That hits.
All right. I'm gonna try to...
How does slow affect AC?
-2.
-2. Thank you.
Okay. And that
Into
is
dex saving rolls also.
Thank
that's
you.
19 points of biting damage. This dude is fucking stacked.
Okay.
And actually, why is that +8? Hold on.
And you get this multi attack from the
Yeah, I get
Awakened
multi-attack.
book, right?
Yeah, the multi-attacks from the Awakened book. Okay, and then second attack is 19 on the better of the 2 dice, and 7,
19
15
hits.
points of damage.
Okay.
I think Flake just straight up rips right into wherever this thing's face is supposed to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's right into the neck, and this creature looks extremely fucked up. That is okay. Now, once again, I need everyone to make. What does this spell fucking do? I need everyone to make a dex save.
Oh no.
1 for both.
One for both is fine, and the DC is 13.
Fail for both. 5.
15 plus 2 is 17.
I have
Alright.
made it again with a 13.
14 on the
Everyone,
dice.
everyone who failed takes 15 bludgeoning damage. 7 bludgeoning damage for those who
Oh, ouch.
made the save.
Yikes.
Those who failed are knocked prone, and you now see the person who has cast this spell, the largest of these gray-skinned, flaming-haired creatures, has just smashed their fists into the ground, and now there is difficult terrain all around you.
As a reaction, I would like to use my Goliath racial trait to Stone's Endurance. So
You do that.
Dune's Endurance. Yeah, basically.
You do that.
Okay. I reduce it to -12 plus my con modifier. And I reduce it to 8. So so Driakmo takes 7. Mangolin is going to take 15.
Great. And this creature also kind of spiral screws into the ground and disappears. Polaris, it is your turn. You can see the air. I didn't need to name it. You can see the creature that was in the middle of casting a spell that you have slowed, that is just taking a face full of Flake, looking really bad near you. You can also hear the sounds of struggle beyond in the fog cloud.
Yeah, so I think Polaris, because this is a concentration spell, is going to sustain that concentration and keep the spell active. However, meanwhile, I think Aletheia is going to be tasked to charge into the fray and target that same individual who's not doing so well that Flake targeted. Question, is there anything nearby, like a pole or like a support beam or something, that Aletheia could climb?
I mean, there is basically like stone bleachers that you can hop up.
Okay, I think Aletheia will climb as far as she can, and given the constraints, and then she's gonna kind of try to Assassin's Creed style, like jump down on top of the individual that Flake has just attacked with her claw attack, which is. She also has a Killer Claw as a bonus, which is a claw attack deals an extra die of damage.
See if it hits.
All right, let's find out. 11.
That goes wide, I'm afraid.
Alas.
That is Aletheia. Does Polaris have any other actions?
I think because she has to keep the concentration spell, she can't cast anything else, so she's just going to kind of focus on that.
Got it. All right. Next up is Driakmo. This creature in front of you has cast a fire shield and singed Mangolin a little bit.
Seeing that, is so far is he down?
Is he down?
As in, is he unconscious?
Oh no, this creature. No, he casts a flame shield. He's still up.
No, who of our friends are unconscious?
None of the druids are unconscious. You can't see. Sahar is in flame right now.
Mm-hmm.
Boudreaux and Gabbro are have been knocked prone again.
Mm-hmm.
And all of your other druid friends are okay. You can see, other than the creature of fire in front of you, you can hear in the smoke, punches being thrown, winces and groans and screams.
Mm-hmm. But it did look like the armored god was, or demigod was downed as well, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so seeing a potential ally, I am going to reach out and again, Driakmo is going to slam his forearms down and say, what was it? In giant, this resonant voice of,
I command your heart to beat. I command you to live. I command you to come to our aid.
And I'm going to use Healing Word at a 3rd level to pop him up.
All right.
And that one was cocked. Okay, so he gets 14 points back up. Of hit points. That was my bonus action. Driakmo is going to unsheathe a scimitar and come wheeling in tornado-like to see if I can help Mangolin.
Okay. Roll that attack.
Okay. 12 to hit.
That is exactly its AC.
Excellent. So.
Oh wait, no. What's Fire Shield do? Hold on. Oh, I cast this cool spell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you take damage from it. So you hit, but you're gonna take some damage.
I do not mind. Okay, so let me just confirm my hit point total. Okay. And actions. Okay. He gets 7 points of damage.
Okay.
And as if to assist me, Mangolin is also going to pounce and try to see if, having used Skitter, he's going to get up from prone and going to come in with the claw attacks.
Go for it.
Okay. That one's not going to hit. That's an 8 to hit.
Okay. Both of you take 13 fire damage from this fire shield.
Okay.
Next up is Daffodil.
Oh, Boise. Can I see anyone yet, or am I still shrouded in this fog?
You can see where Hoot flew off into
Okay.
the smoke, and based on the screeching and the clawing sounds that you heard, not too far away. You could.
I'd
Probably
love to
move.
follow in that case. Use
So,
my
yeah,
movement to
you-
get there.
you follow and see Hoot and this 12-foot Minotaur with dangling earrings and a giant scimitar, really ready to fuck up this creature that just got toasted with some lightning.
Cool. So I have my thorn whip at the ready, and I will strike.
Go for it.
All right. That is going to be for 8 points of damage.
What was the attack roll?
Oh, yeah, right. I have to do that. This is my problem when it comes to spells. I'm just like, yeah, that's the damage that it does.
And I do it.
And then that's it. It happens. No, hang on. I'll fix that. That'll be a 17.
That'll hit. And then you said how much? 7 damage?
I said 8 damage.
8 damage? Okay.
Oh, that's a cantrip. Hooray. That's all I can do, because I don't think Cure Wounds is a bonus action, if I remember correctly. No, it is not. All right. In that case, I think Hoot, now seeing its mom join the fray, is going to circle up and come back in like a little dive bomber for another attack.
Go for it.
Now I have to switch character sheets. Woo, this juggling act that we're doing. All right. Unfortunately not another nat 20, but it is gonna be a 15.
That hits.
And that is going to be for 6 points of damage.
Okay. This creature keeps getting pummeled by it. And it's pissed off, and it catches through the smoke the other creature with barely hanging on for its life that's been slowed, and kind of sees what's going on and begins casting the spell and holds its action so that they can cast it together. The giant human in the shining armor, wakes up and gets up, steadying himself with his sword, and looks around at the fire genasi. And suddenly, from above, an adult red dragon. I need Driakmo and Mangolin to make a dexterity save to get out of the way.
Okay. 16 for Mangolin 16 for Driakmo and 21 for Mangolin.
You guys are fine. You get out of the way as this thing slams into the ground and just chomps that guy right in half.
Oh, buddy.
The Boudreaux and Gabbro kind of circle up next to you, not sure what to do, as the spells from both of these creatures launch at the same time, a gust of wind that tumbles the animals back over the bleachers at the edge. I need you all to make dex saves to not fall over the edge.
By all, you mean all?
All animals.
18 for Mangolin.
This is just the animals. This is
Just
not
the animals. The druids were able to keep their footing, but 2 giant gusts of wind blew the animals away.
That is... Yes, that is a dirty 6 on a nat 1 for...
Dirty 6.
15 for me.
Hoot, you're fine because you can fly. Unfortunately, you cannot help Flake. I need Mangolin and Aletheia to make dexterity saves to grab on to Flake.
Okay.
Oof.
24.
Okay, it's definitely you, because that's 8 for me.
How do you do this, Mangolin?
Yeah, I think as Flake is tumbling back, kind of like, ah! And at which point you just see Mangolin pop up into the air, and with these little tiny but sharp claws and feet, kind of like roll, get onto Flake, and then even though it's not going to form a perfect spear, just roll into a armor, kind of like oblong spear over, kind of covering Flake.
Flake's pretty round.
Getting into Flake's personal space a bit. You hear a click and a whistle, and kiddos, be careful, I'm coming! And you see Vicky flying down through the smoke, and she says, "Come on my back quickly! You got to get out of here!" What do you do?
Can we see our people?
There's the fog is still there, and you did just see a giant dragon crash into the ground.
I think that Mangolin.
Oh, no, we don't have a lot of time. Hurry!
I think who?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you were already in it. Go for it.
Mangolin would never leave Driakmo, and then he hears a very long tone from the flute, and then Mangolin just kind of scampers up as quickly as he can onto Vicky.
I think Hoot, who was in flight during that gust of wind, but is probably exhausted the amount that she can keep herself propelled through the air with such conditions, has no choice but to find a perch on the Aarakocra on Vicky.
Aletheia?
Yeah, I think Aletheia kind of sticks her head up. It's like, I won't leave Polaris.
Flake?
Flake is gonna grapple Aletheia, and drag her onto Vicky.
Oh, wait. Oh, drag Polaris. Got it. Okay.
Alethea, yeah.
Or Aletheia. Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Characters. Yeah.
The Flake is just have you ever seen the video of the raccoon that runs over and then just grabs a big handful of cat food and then runs away? This is like that, except this, because I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, you could roll a nat 20, but I'm pretty sure I've got I rolled a nat 20 on that, so I'm pretty sure
I think you're well. Also, my strength is like -3 modifiers, so if it's it's
you can use your dexterity too, but
That's true.
but I think it's just like the shock of it, like just runs over, grabs, and then scampers. This fat raccoon carrying an equally a large cat onto the back of a fucking parrot Aarakocra. You're
mute, Mel.
No. And then I cast silence. Haha! The DM
and the
cannot
DM
speak.
has nothing to say.
Am I still muted?
No,
Oh,
you're
no,
not.
we
You're
can
good
hear-
now.
You're very quiet though.
All right. Oh, that's so strange.
I think your volume got turned down.
Oh, weird. So your stomach
It's still super quiet.
rise up into your throat as she dive bombs down. Nothing.
We can hear you. It's just really soft.
I've
So
boosted the
weird.
voice chat as best I
Okay.
can.
All right. Bizarre. I didn't do anything. So, Vicky is dive bombing. You feel it in your tummies. And she's, oh gosh, that was so close, kids. I just don't think we could have done it. And then you see as she's flying over jungle and oasis towards the shore, the shadow that she's casting on the trees is obscured by the shadow of a giant red dragon. And a giant flame breath goes down, and she turns her body to protect you from it, and takes the full force of it, and crashes into the tree line with 4 tiny animals. And that's where we will leave.
Vicky, no!
Is my audio still just like super quiet?
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
That's I didn't do anything.
It'll be better without the music, though.
Anyway, whoo! Thanks everyone for joining us for this. We have finally separated the animals from their druids and are ready to start our adventure. Please join us 2 weeks from today. Same Invisible Sun time, same Invisible Sun place, but now for Hearthward Bound, a familiar tale I'll toss it to y'all. Please make plugs or say anything you'd like to say, but we're past our time, so I know we got to wrap up. So go.
I'll start. Okay. Guys, thanks so much for joining us. We got some really cool stuff coming up this week. Namely, on Tuesday, we are going to have the final episode of Hoboken by Night, our Flight of Fandom set in the world of What We Do in the Shadows. So that's going to be featuring Vampire 5e. It's going to have 2 of our current 4 cast members, and I am going to be GMing, so it's going to be a fun time. You guys really need to tune in because you don't know what you're missing if you haven't checked it out.
I'm going to date the Jersey Devil.
It's going to be great.
Not if I get there first.
Next thing I will also say is... hold on, I think I may fix it.
I mean, we can share.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I fixed the audio. I think I'm accidentally boosted something. Anyway, you got it.
Nope.
Sorry. Last thing is we've got Happy Hour coming up. That's going to be run by Liza with a bunch of cast members from all over. So that's going to be fun. It's Halloween themed. It's going to be really cool. It's about Cursed Music Festival. So that should be fun. And then lastly, thank you to the Artistically Inclined for the bits once again. We really appreciate all of your support, and thanks so much for showing up for us time and time again. And that's it for me.
Is my audio better now? I switched mics.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. All right. Nothing. The nice one's still on. I don't know what happened. Yeah, sorry. I interrupted the plug chain.
Why don't you get in on the plug chain?
Yeah, get in.
Motherfucker.
No, Hopper, go.
All right. I was gonna go last, but I was gonna keep the order. Or do we want me to go now? I'll go.
Marcy,
now.
go.
Cool. Hi, everybody. It's still me. It's still Marcy. Still Experimental Madness. Nothing's really changed. I'm also going to be in the show on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. You all should come and watch this absolute bonkers wackiness ensue and finish up. I have no idea how it's going to end. What more could you ask for? Other than that, I hope everyone is continuing to stay safe. And I'm so glad that everyone tuned in today.
Same. Marissa.
Yeah, I know this is not the hole in the world, but for those of us who may have found this lovely little stream not through the hole in the world audience, you should check out our Invisible Sun stream called The Hole in the World. Surprise, surprise. I think 25 out of 27 episodes are up on YouTube, and I'm sure we'll be getting the other final 2 for that little sequence up soon. So if you haven't seen it, there's a ton of back episodes, so totally jump in and catch up.
Yeah, if you like what you see, it's a lot of the same, except in Monty Cook's Invisible Sun. And last but not least,
lots of surreal.
Lots of surreal, painfully surreal. Hopper.
It's me. It's as always, I'm your resident trash bag, Hopper. I can be found on the interwebs at Fail Deadly and also at the Legend Tree, where I post less trash bag stuff. Still kind of trash, but it's delicious trash. And let's see, I will be here on Tuesday playing my... I've typecast myself into a degenerate deadbeat, apparently. My degenerate deadbeat vampire who's... Yeah, you know what? I'll share the Jersey Devil, but here we are. As we do as on that What We Do in the Shadows stream on Flights of Fandom. Let's see here. I'd like to throw a huge shout out to Andreas Walters of Metal Leaf Games. Holy shit. Like, thank you so much. It's I really love your content. I use it in my home games, and it's like, and obviously we've used it here, and it's thanks for dropping in. I've had too much caffeine. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a spiel at y'all, and then I'm gonna I opened a document. That's why my face looks like ghoulish now. It's not the vampirism. As you all know, we've been very vocal encouraging y'all to vote in the coming election. ManaPot Studios cares a lot about this because a lot of us are directly threatened by that, and we're not stopping yet. We're going to keep going until the end. This is a scary time for a lot of us. And while to be clear, you should always vote in every election, national and local. Many lives and rights are on the line in this specific election. It's an extremely precipitous time for a lot of people, And we can't believe that we have to say this, but yeah, you need to make sure that your vote gets counted. This week is an especially important time. If for those of you not mailing in your ballots, and if you are, you should do so soon to give the post office plenty of time to get your ballot where it belongs. Check to see if and when your state is doing early voting. A lot of states have now started.
I did it yesterday.
Early voting, it's the shit.
Yeah, from my recollection, Harris County, Texas had a colossal numbers, which is super important. And New York had a lot pretty high numbers as well. I totally derailed my train of thought, as I am wont to do. Those of us, for those of us based here in NYC, you've got from the 24th through the 1st to vote early, aka fucking today. Check find my poll site .vote.nyc if you're local to check where both your regular and early voting places are. And if you've been paranoid like you've been, you can check, double check, and triple check to make sure you're registered to vote on a number of sites. Vote.org makes it especially easy, but you can always check your state voter registration webpage too. We're going to keep up the call right up until election night, folks, because so get out there and vote. And be sure to tell us if you voted in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hopper. Thanks for that. Before we sign off, thanks again, ManaPot Studios. Thanks again, The Legend Tree. Thanks again, Liza Courtright, for the art and the overlays. Thanks to Probably Bad RPG Ideas and Dungeon in a Box for the inspiration for this show. This was so much fun. I hope you come back in 2 weeks. We'll be doing this. There'll be 4 episodes. So every 2 weeks until December 6th. So please come back and join us to see this tale through. We love you very much. And good night. See you in 2 weeks.